Hello everyone, this is SMD Mazharul Haq, Assistant Professor, Deputy Department, ISL Engineering College. I am reading the subject Power Electronics. In this subject, we are having a topic called Single Phase Inverters and its operations. In this single phase inverter and its operations, we will be discussing about the inverter which operates on the single phase supply and how it operates for various firing angles we will be seeing here. So before entering what is an inverter, we will discuss. What is an inverter? So inverter is nothing but it is a device or it is called as a power electronic device which converts DC to AC is called as an inverter. So we will study in this topic about the introduction and the principle of operation of the inverter as well as performance parameters. In the performance parameters, we will discuss about how the performance of the inverter is being affected and what are the parameters that are being involved in affecting the performance of the inverter. And here the principle of operation is discussed how the inverter operates, and the third thing is performance parameters, and the fourth thing is the different type of inverter, the configuration of the inverter here. And also we are using the pulse width modulation techniques. That means that the pulse width modulation nothing but while giving the signals or while giving the gate pulses to the thyristors here, thyristors or IGBTs, then the pulse width modulation is being utilized here so that the proper input or proper pulses are given to the thyristors so that they can operate at maximum efficiency. So next thing is the PWM generation. What is the PWM generation? How it is generated? There is nothing but pulse width modulation generation, and also we are studying about the PWM harmonics. So harmonics play a very important role in this particular power electronics devices like inverters, rectifiers, cycloconverters, and choppers, etc. So these harmonics are to be reduced by using the techniques that are now available to reduce the harmonics in the devices. So the current source inverter is one of the type, and introduction to three-phase inverter is also there, and also some conclusions are we are driving here, and also we will see that the voltage source inverter is also discussed here. Now, so what happens is the state here, at the end of the operation, the characteristics of the inverter will be discussed, as well as the performance parameters and the use of different techniques for analyzing and designing of the DC to AC converter is also discussed now. Why? Because this DC to AC converter, if it is designed properly and whatever that is robust with the available techniques like PWM techniques, then the inverter will operate at good efficiency. Now we will discuss here about the introduction. So inverters are circuits that convert a DC input voltage to a symmetric AC output voltage. So what is a DC input voltage? A DC input voltage can be from a battery, and this battery will have some voltage, and that battery voltage is given to a converted to a symmetric AC output voltage. Symmetric in the sense any sinusoidal voltage is called as the symmetric AC output voltage. So by which the magnitude and frequency can be controlled. So these inverters are used here by giving the converting the DC to AC, and again that AC can be controlled, AC magnitude and frequency can be controlled with the help of the power electronic devices. Like we can change the firing angle, and by changing the firing angle we can develop these particular voltages. And next is the applications. What are the applications? The applications of the inverters are like adjustable speed AC motor drives and uninterruptible power supplies. Like you will be using some UPS while the power is off, then the UPS will start working, and the UPS will be actually a battery charged one, and if the power is gone, then it reverses the supply and it supplies the power to the equipment. So AC power will be supplied to the equipment. So it is nothing but the one of the application of the inverters. And any AC appliances run from an automobile. From an automobile, the AC appliances which are running also have this inverter there incorporated. Now if you see this diagram, you can observe here the VDC is nothing but the DC voltage here. VDC is the DC voltage here, and as well as the IDC current flows into this block. This block is nothing but the power electronic device, and this power electronic device will convert the signals given from the input and the output is AC voltage, and here are the current is also AC here. Why? Because if you are, this is the powertrain device which consists of the, in this particular thyristors as well as the connecting wires and also the voltage sources, etc. And this operation goes on here, and this operation completed, and then it will be given the AC voltage. This AC voltage can be utilized for the AC appliances like that. Now we will see the types of inverters. What are the types of inverters? First thing is the voltage source inverter. So how the voltage source inverter operates and how the current source inverter operates. Now we will see the voltage source inverter, that is VSI. This is the voltage source inverter VSI and current source inverter CSI. Now let's see here, DC link voltage is there, as well as you will be having a load voltage. So this DC link voltage is nothing but the capacitor voltage there, as well as the load voltage is given at the end of the that load and given as this terminal. So the current source inverter block diagram is like this, where you will be having, and not having a capacitor, but you are having an inductor here, and the inductor is in series, and the capacitor is connected like this parallelly, and there is an inductor and the inductive current flows in it, and therefore through after the processing is happening in the inverter gives you the load current. So that load current can be utilized with the other current operating devices, as well as here the load voltage and load current are different things. These load voltage and load currents are the different things that are being generated by the voltage source inverter and current source inverters respectively. So these are the respective things that are discussed in the types of inverter, that is a voltage source inverter as well as the current source inverter. After seeing this inverters, we are having one more thing, that is the voltage source inverter VSI, and shortcut is VSI with variable DC link. So variable DC link in the sense, here you will be having a DC link, nothing but a capacitor that is connected between the chopper and the inverter. Here in this figure shown, chopper has a variable DC output, and the inverter switches are turned on off with the square wave patterns are being utilized in the inverter, and therefore this chopper to inverter, in between there is a DC link. The DC link is nothing but the capacitive voltage, or we can also call it a DC link voltage. It is a varied by DC to DC converter or a controlled rectifier. So it can be varied by a DC to DC converter, or a controlled rectifier can be used there to vary the DC output generated from the DC link voltage. The DC voltage can be, it may be controlled by the rectifier. Now this rectifier control is over, and second thing is generating a square wave output voltage, to generate the square wave output voltage, and the output voltage amplitude is varied as DC link is varied. So here we can say one thing, that the generation of this voltage source inverter gives you the DC supply, and through the rectifier what happens is we are converting the DC to AC, AC to DC, as well as what we have the variable DC is converted to DC, and that DC is converted into AC, that is the square wave output voltage. The output voltage amplitude is varied as DC link is varied. So the output voltage amplitude is varied as the DC link is also varied. Now the frequency of the output voltage changing the frequency pulses. So we are seeing here that the frequency is changing the output voltage, and the frequency pulses also changing in the voltage source inverter with variable DC link. So if the DC link voltage is varied, then also we can vary the output voltage by varying the DC link voltage. Here in this slide we are seeing this DC link that is between the chopper as well as the inverter shown. So output voltage can be varied by varying the DC link voltage in the case of the voltage source inverter. So this point suggests that output voltage amplitude is varied as DC link is varied, is shown in that particular figure. Now we will be talking about the voltage source inverter advantages and disadvantages. What are the advantages of the particular voltage source inverter? So what are the advantages of this voltage source inverter means, these voltage source inverters are having simple waveform generation, like it will generate the square waveform, as well as they are reliable. We can also reliably depend upon the voltage source inverter. So these disadvantages are also there for the voltage source inverter. Whatever disadvantages means is it is having the extra conversion stage and also poor harmonics. So it is having a poor harmonics here, and these harmonics are being reduced by using many devices that are reducing the harmonics, because the harmonics are unwanted in the supply, and therefore after using these particular things, the harmonics can be reduced, but it is a disadvantage as of now, and therefore the poor harmonics also one of the disadvantage for the voltage source inverter. So the voltage source inverter also has the poor harmonics. Now we will be seeing that voltage source inverter with fixed DC link. Suppose you are having a fixed DC link like this, shown in the figure, where you are having the capacitor and this is the voltage, this is the capacitor there, and you are having an inverter placed here, and this inverter nothing but a circuit which converts DC to AC quantity. Now this DC to AC quantity can be converted by using the inverter, and the switch to turn on and off with the PWM pattern. Why? Because the PWM pattern is responsible for the on and off of the thyristors or on of the switches in the inverter. By on off the switches, the source can be the source supplies the power, and the power is modulated with the help of this inverter, and the required power or the required waveform is being given, or the required signal is being given to the load down. So DC voltage is held constant here. So sometimes we can have VSI with variable DC as well as VSI with fixed DC link. Now this DC link is being fixed or it is variable. Now output voltage, amplitude and the frequency are varied simultaneously using the PWM technique. So what is the PWM technique means? Here the pulse width modulation, by modulating the pulse width of the input waveform, or the modulating the switching technique. You can write a switching technique where the switches are on and off, and that switching pattern will develop some voltage waveform, and that voltage waveform will be very reliable or very convenient for the output, and that can be utilized for the equipment also. Like it will be some sinusoidal, having some good sinusoidal properties. And another one is good harmonic control. In the VSI, with the VSI means voltage source inverter, with fixed DC link. Here you will be having good harmonic control, but at the expense of complex waveform generation. The parallel diode is used when the current in the switch is negative. Here the parallel diode is nothing but it is being used here along with the switches, that is T1, T2, T3 and T4, so that the parallel diode is used when the current in the switch is negative, and diode will be reversed by as when the current in the switch is positive. So these switches will be having different polarities, that is the positive as well as negative polarity. This parallel diode is used when current is negative. Diode will reverse bias, it doesn't operate when the current is positive in the switch. So when there is negative, when the switch is negative, when the current in the switch is negative, then only the diode will operate. So these are the inverters. These inverters, if you are having the square wave inverter, as we said already that the parallel diode is used when the current in the switch is negative, and the diode will be reversed bias when the current is positive in the switch. So for only the negative current in the switch, the diode will operate, and the positive current in the switch, the diode will be reversed bias. So we will have a switch like structure here. S1 symbol, S2 symbol, S3 and S4 symbols are like switches, and in between we are connecting a resistor, and this is the equivalent circuit of a simple square wave inverter. So this is a simple square wave inverter, and these inverters are having a good demand here because they give a pure pure voltage that will be used for different purposes. Now here we see that there are switches S1, S2, S3 and S4 switches here. Now let me tell you, whenever the S1, S2 is turned on and S3, S4 is turned off, then what happens? The waveform will be like this. So here we are turning on S1, S2. S1 and S2 they are closed. That means the switches are turned on, and therefore there is a current flowing here, and by showing this arrow mark as dotted line we see that the current is flowing in this switch, and from this switch it is flowing the resistor, and from the resistor we are getting it into this VDC second point again. So here we have completed the circuit, because here S3 and S4 are open circuits. These S3 and S4 are open circuits, and therefore we see that this S3 and S4, the supply will not be there, and only the supply will be through S1, the resistor, and S2. So when the supply is there, then the VDC voltage that appears here is given as the square waveform, and the time is T by 2. So here T1 is the time T is between T1 and T2. So T1 is T lies between T1 and T2. This is the range of the time where this switching action takes place. The output voltage VDC is as shown. So it will rise as a square wave, stay constant, and it will drop at T by 2. So when other switches is being operated, then this square wave waveform will be shown again. So for the positive cycle and now for the negative cycle, we see these particular waveforms. So here S1 and S2 are the voltage switches, and the voltage appears like that. Now moving to the other slide, the other slide is having S1, S2 is turned off, and S3, S4 is turned on for this T2 less than T less than T3. So here we are having the second time, that is T2 and T3 here. We will see that this particular S1, S2 are turned off, and S3, S4 are turned on. Now other half, the S3, S4 are turned on, and S1, S2 are turned off. In the previous case, the S1, S2 was turned on. Here S3, S4 is turned on. So S3, S4, what happens is, here the supply will be going through the thyristor or switch S3 first, again coming to the resistor with a negative polarity here. Because it is entering through the negative polarity, here we will have a negative waveform like this. A negative voltage waveform will be appeared because whatever the current that is flowing in from this part, it will be going through switch S, and from this switch S we are moving into this particular resistor, and the resistor has a negative polarity on this side. Therefore it is evident that the negative type of the voltage will appear, whereas in the previous waveform it was plus symbol, and here it was entering like this to plus, so the VDC voltage was getting as a positive, and here it is getting as negative here. And you will see that this particular waveforms are shown very simple manner for a square wave waveform, where S1, S2, S3 are the switches for a single phase inverter. Now we will discuss about the performance parameters of this particular square wave inverters. So discussing about the square wave performance parameters of the square wave inverter, we see that these performance parameters are very much helpful for an inverter to decide whether it works in the different conditions or only at some fixed conditions it will be working. So in various conditions we will be applying the voltages for the inverters, and the different voltages we will see the performance parameters of the inverters. Mainly we see the power, voltage and current, how they are varying in this particular square wave inverters. So in the square wave inverters we are seeing that I naught of t is equals to VDC by R plus I minimum minus VDC by R into e power minus t by tau is the current, that is the output current given, and that is also can be mentioned as minus VDC by R plus I minimum plus VDC by R into e power minus t minus pi by 2 by tau. So here these equations are given, and these equations are mentioned here. So here the time range, that is 0 to t by 2, one type of waveform is appearing there, that is this waveform, and from this other waveform t by 2 to t, this waveform occurs, and the current formula is given by minus VDC by R plus I minimum plus VDC by R into e power minus t by 2 by tau. So here we will be seeing these particular waveforms and drawn as well as the equations and written here, and we want to find out the minimum and maximum values, and I minimum is equals to minus of I maximum. We can write I minimum as minus of I maximum, and minus of I maximum is equals to VDC by R into 1 minus e power minus tau by t by 2 tau, and divided by 1 plus e power minus t by 2 tau. So therefore PDC is equals to VDC into IS. So PDC is equals to VDC into IS there. So PDC is equals to VDC into IS. That's nothing but the power, DC power is equals to the DC voltage into the source current here. So it is given clearly that the DC voltage is VDC and IS is the source current, and the power is PDC. So by seeing these performance parameters, we will be seeing the performance parameters of the square wave inverter, and the square wave inverter will be showing this particular efficiency depending upon the switches and the switching techniques we are using, and therefore the power also depends upon the control of the voltage and the source current. So here for finding out the power, we need voltage and current, and this voltage and current is the nothing but the output of the square wave inverter only. So the square wave inverter, the output is proper, then the power and all other parameters will be a very impressive way, and these performance parameters can be used for saying that these square wave inverters operate efficiently. And we will take one example for a square wave inverter by using this formula, and by using this formula we will calculate how does it take the square wave inverter, and how the DC source is given to the inverter, and therefore after giving the DC source and 125 volts and output frequency will be 60 Hz, and the RL series load with R is equals to 20 ohms and L is equals to 20 millihenry. So all these values are given for this RL, nothing but is a motor load, and we will see that this series load nothing but R is equals to 20 ohms is in series with the L is equals to 20 ohm millihenry, and therefore we find out the given parameters, like these are the performance parameters as I said that these are to be followed in this particular problem. Now this square wave inverter is given a DC source of 125 volts, it is clear. So the given data says that the 125 volts of the DC source is taken and output frequency of 60 Hz is taken. So therefore the RL series load values are also given, R is equals to 20 ohms and L is equals to 20 millihenry. Now determining an expression for load current, RMS load current and average source current. Now we have to determine this expression for load current as well as RMS load current and average source current we have to find out. So all these expressions are discussed already in the previous slide. The load current expression, the RMS load current expression I0 as well as average source current IDC should be found out by taking the formulas. Now one more thing we have to tell here is the Fourier series analysis for the square wave inverter. What is a Fourier series analysis? So Fourier series method is often the most practical way to analyze load current and to compute power absorbed by the load. So it is a very important point to discuss about the Fourier series method that is used for the practical way to analyze the load current and to compute the power absorbed by the load. Now we will see that the V0 is the output voltage given by the formula sigma n odd, means it is having the n odd number, and sigma 4 into VDC by n pi. 4 into VDC by n pi gives us the output voltage formula 4 times the DC output voltage by n pi. Now if you want to find out IN, that is the current, that is equals to Vn by Zn. So here n is ranging from the different values 1 to infinity, and therefore you will see that IN is equals to Vn by Zn, that is equals to 4 into VDC by n pi divided by square root of R square plus n omega naught L whole square. Now we will see that P is equals to IN square RMS into R. Nothing but the IRMS will be given as square root of sigma is equal to n is equal to 1 to infinity IN by root 2 whole square. So this IN by root 2 whole square is the IRMS value that is to be taken here, and this IRMS value will be deciding how these particular parameters are being affected. So IRMS is equal to sigma n is equals to 1 to infinity IN by root 2 whole square. Now to calculate these parameters, we require the formula P is equals to IN square RMS into R, and therefore the RMS current is also find out, and the Fourier analysis is done here. Now the Fourier series analysis for square wave inverter will be used. So the Fourier series analysis for square wave inverter can be used here to say that the quality of AC output voltage or current can be expressed by the total harmonic distortion. So the total harmonic distortion is nothing but the parameter that is telling that the inverter is operating properly or good efficiency. Why? Because if TSD is calculated, we can know how much of the percentage of the current is being not in a proper way, and therefore we can say that how the total harmonic distortion calculation will affect performance. Like total harmonic distortion, if it is less, like 4% or 5%, then it is a good standard. Whereas if the total harmonic distortion is more, then we can say, then we say that the distortion is more, and therefore the waveform needs to be corrected by applying some analysis as well as some equipments where you can reduce the harmonics. So due to harmonics only these particular distortions occur, and by calculating the total harmonic distortion, we can tell the effect or performance of the power electronic device. And not only inverters, we can tell about any power electronic device here. So if we talk about the THD, that is in terms, in the full form it is total harmonic distortion. The total harmonic distortion is equal to square root of sigma n is equal to 2 to infinity Vn square RMS. Now this is the total harmonic distortion. It is divided by V1 in the RMS. So square root of n is equal to 2 to infinity sigma Vn square RMS by V into V suffix 1 RMS is the total harmonic distortion. And if you want to calculate the total harmonic distortion, then we can find out V square RMS minus V1 square RMS by V1 V suffix 1 RMS. So this is the formula that is applicable for this total harmonic distortion, as well as we know that what is the RMS value, V1 RMS square value. Just now we have calculated already 4 VDC by pi for the by applying the Fourier series. We have seen this one. So applying the formula, we see that this 4 VDC by pi n pi divided by 4 VDC by n pi, then we will get the total harmonic distortion. And here the VRMS is equals to VDC, and therefore by seeing this calculation we can say that the VRMS is equals to VDC in this particular Fourier series analysis for a square wave inverter, and VNRMS is equals to VDC by root 2 should be taken into considerations. Now one more example, if we are solving this particular square wave inverter problem, you will get an idea how these square wave inverters are being discussed, as well as how the efficiency of the square wave inverter improves, and by saying how to calculate the fundamental output voltage and also the THD for output voltage and current and the power absorbed by the load also can be calculated. So this power absorbed in the load can be calculated by total harmonic distortion for output voltage and current, and power absorbed by the load can be calculated by this example. So what are the things what we have to do here? Here one thing is you have to find out the output voltage, because these waveforms are given, the input of the square wave inverter is given here, and also frequency as well as resistance and inductance is given. You can easily find out the output voltage, fundamental output voltage, and also you can find out the total harmonic distortion for output voltage and current and the power absorbed by the load. Now we will see how this total harmonic distortion for the output voltage and the current is being calculated, and how it is being power absorbed by the load. We will see now. So here we have seen that this particular example we will be taking fundamental output voltage. What is the fundamental output voltage here? VDC by 4 VDC by n pi. So we are taking n is equals to 1, and VDC we are taking here. VDC is equal to 100 volts. Therefore 100 is being used here, and we see that 127.3 volts is the calculation we got from this particular V1. So V1 is getting 127.3 volts, and we will find out the voltage and current total harmonic distortion. THDV refers to the total harmonic distortion of the voltage and total harmonic distortion of the current refers to THDI. Now we will find out what is Vn. Vn is equals to 127.3 by N. So if there are n harmonics, then this voltage can be calculated. For suppose fundamental voltage is 1. Suppose it is for different harmonics or different levels, then we can find out this Vn. So in place of n, we will be writing the number, and by writing the number n, we find out the particular output voltage. So this output voltage can be calculated by Zn is equals to square root of R square plus 2 pi FNL square, and therefore the impedance if you want to calculate here, R is given, that is 10 ohms, and 2 pi n FL. 2 pi n is separately, and FL is given separately, that is F is 60 Hz. It is mentioned here, it is only 60 Hz, not 50 Hz here, it is 60 Hz. So we see that this 60 Hz is multiplied with 25 into 10 power minus 3, that is the millihenry inductance, and completely it is in square root. So this square root, and also we have the bracket here, and we will write the bracket and square here. So after squaring this one, what we get is square root of 100 plus 9.43 n. The 9.43 n is the value we got, that is the this particular value of this brackets, and rho pi n into 60 in 25 10 power minus 3 gives you this 9.43 n. After getting this 9.43 n, what will be there is, here we are calculating the In is equals to Vn by Zn. Now for calculating In is equals to Vn by Zn, what we know Vn is 127.3 by n into square root of 100 plus 9.43 n whole square. Now this particular n value depends upon what type of output voltage and what harmonics we are referring will be calculated by this formula. And by this formulas we can find out the fundamental output voltage, that is the first part of the problem here, already we have discussed. So these are the things that are to be kept in mind. We should know the formula V1 is equals to 4 VDC by N pi, so that we can get the fundamental output voltage, and from the fundamental output voltage we can find out the Vn, as well as we can now focus on THDV and THDI, that is the total harmonic distortion of voltage, and then the current total harmonic distortion we will be discussing in a precise manner, as well as we will be discussing here about the output voltage, and second quantity is this the THD for output voltage and current, and the power absorbed by the load. So now what this table is showing us that we are having a n is equals to 1, 3 and 5 and 7, 9, because these are the harmonic values, total harmonic distortion. The n can be changed, and the fundamental value to some n is equals to 1 to 3, like that we will be calculating the frequency here, that Fn is equals to 60, 180, 300, 420 and 540. So here this frequency is calculated, as well as you will find out this particular voltage Vn is equals to 127.3 as we have got in the first case, and later it is reduced by n times. So nothing but if we are going to the formula is already given here, 4 VDC by n pi. So 4 VDC by n pi is the formula, and we have solved it to 127.3 by n. Now 127.3 by n means n is equal to 3. If n is equal to 3, then we are able to solve that 127 by 3, it is 42, and 127 by 5 is 25, and 25.5, and 127.3 divided by 7, it is 18.2, and 127.3 if you are dividing by 9, it is 14.1. Like that, Vn voltage is calculated, and therefore Zn is equals to also calculated by the formula, and these formulas are being mentioned here. Zn is equal to square root of R square plus 2 pi FNL whole square, R square plus 2 pi FNL square, and the complete thing is under square root, where Zn is calculated. Now after Zn calculated, Zn formula used, and the values are written for depending value of n, and also we find out the In value. Now we also find out the In value by finding out In is equals to Vn by Zn. So all the formulas are mentioned here, and these mentioned formulas can be utilized for finding out the In, Zn, Vn and everything. Now lastly we want to find out the power. So how to find out the power in this one? The power formula is nothing but the power formula is we have P is nothing but Vn into Izl. So we see that the power formula is also there 429.3. How this 429.3 is available means we will be having this current and voltage. So current and voltage, if it is there, then the current and voltage will be multiplied and we will get this particular value. So if you are multiplying 127.3 into 9.27 into 9.27, so there will be different values here, and we will be writing the power formula mentioned, and we will be finding out the different power values. So here we have discussed about these things, about the voltages, current and impedances. Like that we will be having the formulas based upon the ions. Here ion square RMS into R is given. By applying this power formula, we will get the power Pn. So it is mentioned here. Please remember this one. So it is important one where you can calculate the Pn value. So in this topic, we will be getting the these formulas based problems, and so it is important to learn these formulas, as well as these formulas can be get from the basic technique, like you know the voltage, you can find out the current if you know the impedance and voltage. So like that power can also be calculated by using different formulas, as well as RMS values and average values are to be noted down clearly and remembered, so that it will be helpful for us to calculating this type of example chart. And here the power is being calculated by ion square R, like this is ion square and R value, the resistance value is given, the fixed value will be given, and from the fixed value we will be calculating the power. That is, here for 60 Hz there is a maximum amount of power being generated, as well as when the frequency goes on increasing, we can see that due to the impedance current is reducing, and also the voltage also reduces, and depending upon the voltage and also the impedances are increasing. So here you can see that the irregularities are more, like frequency is increasing and the voltage is also decreasing, therefore the impedance is also increasing, and the current is decreasing, therefore the power also decreases for increasing of the frequency, as well as the voltage is being reduced. So by this chart, we can say that these particular frequencies are being generated, and these particular frequencies are being find out, and by the increase of frequency, the power also gets these particular values. So for different frequency, fundamental frequency is this one. As the frequency is increased, and here the voltages are mentioned, the voltage gets reduced, and for different values, and this total harmonic distortion can also be calculated. But before that, we are calculating the power, and the power is like this. The power is reduced to 0.14 when the frequency is 540 Hertz. Now we will see an example or a problem that is already discussed. So students, these are the examples I am telling you for easy understanding of the total harmonic distortion, as well as this particular voltage, current and power. So as already discussed, the total harmonic distortion is the parameter that will tell us that the output is efficient or the output is proper without any harmonics. Suppose harmonic PhD value is less, then we say that the harmonics are less. If PhD value is more, then we said that harmonics are more in the system. Therefore, depending upon this total harmonic distortion factor, we will be saying that the efficiency of the equipment will be hindered by total harmonic distortion calculation, as well as we will take preventive measures for reducing the harmonics. And now we will write the formula here: square root of 100 square minus 4 into 100 by root 2 pi whole square divided by 4 into 100 by root 2 into 1 into pi. This is the formula already given you. That formula is based on this particular formula. I will show you again. This formula is so this formula is given here, where you will be having 4 VDC by n pi also mentioned there, and this 4 VDC by n pi is to be applied there, and by applying the 4 VDC by n pi, this is 4 VDC by n pi here, if you apply, you get the 48.4% of the total harmonic distortion percentage. Now, if you want to find out the current total harmonic distortion, it is the current total harmonic distortion is always less than the voltage harmonic distortion. Why? Because we are seeing here the voltage is at this particular load side 48.4% is the total harmonic distortion, and the current total harmonic distortion is sigma n is equals to 2 to infinity in square RMS. If you calculate these values, then you will get a 0.167 value as THD, and you can write 16.7%. So this 16.7% is the total harmonic distortion, and we can say that the power, if you are to calculate it, is in square RMS into capital R. So in RMS square is nothing but in by root 2 whole square into R. So in by root 2 whole square into R gives you the particular value P is equals to sigma Pn. P is equals to sigma Pn there, and you will be writing the value 429.3 plus 10 plus 1.40 plus 0.37 plus 0.14. Just now as I have written the table thing, the parameters of the table written power calculations are added here, and the total power is nothing but the 441 watts of power. So here we are calculating the power in this way by using these formulas. So these formulas are being utilized for finding out the power, as well as this power calculations and total distortion calculations can be done in simulations also. Simulation nothing but we can apply these particular things in the MATLAB, as well as we can find out the total harmonic distortion, as well as we can find out the power calculations. So all these things can be done in MATLAB also. So MATLAB is a simulation software that will be helpful for simulating all these things in this particular environment, MATLAB environment, and see that we will be having a good total harmonic distortion or not. Okay. Now talking about the amplitude and harmonic control. The amplitude of the fundamental frequency for a square wave output from the Woodruff bridge inverter is determined by DC input voltage. So if you see this amplitude and harmonic control, what is amplitude? Amplitude is nothing but the highest peak value that a waveform achieves during a time. So the amplitude of the fundamental frequency for a square wave output from a full bridge inverter is determined by DC input voltage. So if the input voltage is good, the amplitude also will be good in the output voltage, that is the AC inverter. Now converting DC to AC nothing but the DC, if it is a very good quality, then the AC will also be a very good one, and therefore we should see that the DC is the supply is a very good quality, therefore, and if there is a good voltage quality or the input quality, then automatically the output quality will also improve, and if the harmonics are reduced, these things are used for the proper output delivery. And now a control output can be produced by modifying the switching scheme. Suppose you see here, this output voltage can be controlled by adjusting the interval alpha. So this output voltage can be controlled by converting this alpha. Here if you see this alpha, as in the previous classes you know about alpha, where it is alpha is a firing angle, and this alpha is, if it is applied, this alpha will show you the particular thing, the square waveform here, and after alpha here you are applying the same alpha here also, and see that this particular waveform is seen here as a square waveform, and therefore a control output can be achieved by varying the alpha values. So alpha can be value varied by n value, and therefore by varying this n value we can control the this output, and a control output can be produced by modifying the switching schemes. So by modifying the switching schemes, we can do and wonder that a control output can be produced by modifying the switching schemes also. So here the switching scheme alpha is equals to 10 degrees by n. By applying any other techniques also, we can control this particular output voltage. So if you want to control the output voltage, you can apply any type of switching techniques or switching schemes. This output voltage can be controlled by adjusting the interval alpha on each side of the pulse, and where the output is 0. So the output is 0 means this output voltage can be controlled by adjusting the interval alpha on each side of the pulse, where the output is 0. So adjusting the interval alpha means you are measuring this alpha value on each side of the pulse where the output is 0, and by controlling this alpha value, by controlling the alpha can be done very easily. Now the harmonic also can be eliminated by choosing a value of alpha which can make the sine terms go to 0. If you want the sine terms go to 0, what you have to do is the harmonics can be eliminated, nothing but the sine terms whatever are available should go to 0. That means that the harmonics can be eliminated by choosing a value of alpha in which the alpha will make the sine terms go to 0 values. So in this waveform you can see about the alpha, and this alpha will have some voltage also. V1 is equals to alpha is a pi angle, or we can say that is an interval of time for where the second waveform appears. So it can be controlled by using the different techniques now, switching techniques, and we find out the V1. V1 is equals to I1 into Z1, that is 4 VDC by pi into cos alpha. So this 4 VDC by pi into cos alpha gives you the V1 voltage here. So this V1 voltage can be used to find out the V1 is equals to I1 Z1 is equals to 4 VDC by pi into cos alpha, and IN is equals to Vn by Zn. IN is equals to Vn by Zn, that refers to the current, and IN is equals to 4V1 by N pi divided by square root of R square plus N omega naught L square. As we know all these values N, L and R and about the current, we will be finding out the this IN value. So IN value can be easily found out by this particular calculations, and these calculations are useful for the amplitude and harmonic control. So amplitude of fundamental frequency of a square wave output from the full bit generator is determined by the DC input voltage, and harmonics can be reduced here. And we see the this amplitude and harmonic control also, we have different types of problems here. So this is the amplitude and harmonic control, and we have seen here, and we will see about the problem in the next slide. So students, we have discussed about the amplitude harmonic control here, as well as we have seen about the different techniques that are being used for switching, as well as by switching technique also we can vary the waveform, and by varying the waveform we can get a pure sinusoidal waveform there. And here we see that there are number of controls also available, like we will be having the pulse width modulation control that can be discussed in the next class. And students, by these switching techniques we can do any sort of switching, and the switching schemes will be different, and the PWM also has the pulse modulation technique also has a number of varieties of the PWM techniques applicable for making the switches on and off. So the power electronics in the inverters topic or in the choppers topic, wherever you find the application of power electronics, the switching technique is more important. Switching technique is more important to get the desired output voltage. So students, I would like to end my topic here. In the next class we will discuss about the PWM technique, and the different types of PWM techniques we will be discussing. So by discussing this previous slides, we have discussed about the BSI, CSI, as well as we have seen how this switching will be happening and how the waveforms are appearing. So in the next class we will be discussing about the PWM techniques applied and how they will be giving the output voltage. Okay, thank you. So we will meet in the next class. Thank you very much.